Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Ask AJ. I can't believe it's actually Wednesday again.
Comes around so quickly.
So quick. So today you've got myself, Edward, and lovely Victoria.
Hello.
And it's rather wet in the Lake District today, typical for the Old Lakes.
Yeah, it's a bit gloomy out there today.
So I hope you're all nice and warm and dry wherever you are. So we're going to talk to you today about viewings, but more specifically why it's important for your estate agent to conduct viewings on your behalf wherever possible. Obviously there are the odd occasion where you might need to step in, but majority of the time, I think you'd agree, Victoria, it's really important that your agent does the viewings for you. And really, while they're doing it, if you can head out, pop to the shops, walk the dog, go for a coffee, whatever you want to do to sort of leave the house for while the viewings take place. So what do you think? Why?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you say, certainly head out, go and grab lunch, go and meet a friend for coffee if you can. But the main thing that I've realised since doing this is people feel that they're sort of inflating the feedback to the vendor. So if it's the homeowner conducting the viewing themselves, often they've done a lot of the decor, they've done a lot of the work, they've chosen the kitchen, and it's all to their taste.
Yeah.
When the viewer then comes in, they don't want to offend that person.
No, God, no.
So they'll be very complimentary about it. I love that kitchen, I love that wallpaper, where did you get that from?
Yeah.
Which it unfortunately leads to the client of ours feeling quite disappointed should the feedback then not match what they said on the day.
Yeah. So I call it fake feedback. Obviously we always hope that the positive feedback they're giving you is positive, but as Victoria said, I mean, viewings in general are quite a nervous, anxious first impression, isn't it? People are coming into what is somebody else's house, with somebody new they've not met before. They're already a bit on edge. So then if the homeowners are there as well, it can kind of make them feel even more a little bit on edge because, they feel like they're kind of being watched and listened to. And as Victoria perfectly said, we're British at the end of the day. We don't want to offend anyone.
No.
We don't want to be rude. So they will walk into a room and be like, oh, this is fantastic. It ticks all my boxes. Just because they don't want to offend the homeowner that's lived there for 30 years. It's been their family home. They brought their kids up there. And I would be the same. And I'm sure you would. I wouldn't want to be rude about somebody's house. And it's not even necessarily being rude. It could just be, we get it a lot. People will come in for a viewing and they might think, oh, I want to knock that wall down and make this amazing big kitchen. And they want to picture that and envisage it as to how it would be for them as their home. But if a homeowner's there, you'd feel a bit awkward about, I want to knock that wall down and, that's got, maybe the heights of your kids on the door or whatever. You just don't know. So it doesn't give them that opportunity to really immerse themselves in what that house could be for them as opposed to who it is.
Absolutely. Just to add to that, I think if the homeowner is conducting the viewing themselves, they'll probably have little stories as they're going around the home, and maybe about their children or their pet, for instance. And if that viewer, maybe they don't have a family, maybe they're wanting the home for another purpose, it may lead them to think, oh, maybe it's not the home for me because I don't have children or I don't have a dog.
Such a good point.
And you could already talk yourself out of it a little bit, whereas if you've just got sort of freedom to imagine yourself in that home, it could end up differently.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of in the same way that we style homes. So when we're styling home, you're kind of setting what is basically a blank canvas, but still making it present very well. So you kind of want a blank mental canvas of the house.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's such a good point that you brought up. They don't want to, however nice it is, they want to envisage their family in the home, or like you say, they might be planning to actually have it as, a holiday let or a second home, or maybe it's going to be a multi-generational living situation for them, and that's what they want to picture. Whereas potentially, if you're looking with a homeowner, like you say, if they're describing all their memories and stories and what they've been doing with it, it might be not impossible, but a little bit harder for those viewers to start picturing their life there.
Yeah.
So that's a really, really good point. And I think you said something else earlier, which was a good point as well, that you know, sometimes a homeowner might give too much away.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, an agent sort of has the skill of knowing what to say, when to say it, or not to say. So sometimes less is more.
Yes, yeah.
So, you know, it's kind of having that balance, I suppose, of information.
Yes. Yeah.
You don't want to sort of overwhelm a viewer, particularly on a first viewing. You know, they might have viewed 3 or 4 houses that same day. They kind of need the key bits of information while they're kind of weighing up their options, and then they're going to narrow that down and potentially come back for a second or third viewing.
Yeah, yeah.
And actually on those, you know, normally a second or a third viewing, maybe definitely a third, we would recommend that the homeowner's there. You know, we have your agent present as well, just sort of introduce and be a bit of a buffer. But it can be nice, can't it?
Yeah, that's the perfect opportunity then at that point. You know, you've already imagined yourself in that home. You know, you maybe have your own ideas by then. You're wanting to measure a few walls to see if the configuration may work for you. And that may be the opportunity then, if they had a really sort of in-depth question about, I don't know, a building material that had been used on a specific extension or something like that. The reason why they use that over something else, that's your opportunity then to ask the homeowner and have a little discussion on that.
Yeah.
But you don't want to overwhelm them initially on that first viewing.
Yeah. And then I think for me, the final point would be, and I have genuinely seen this, if homeowners are in the house while you're doing the viewing, what happens is your viewer will kind of tiptoe around the house. But they do very quick tiptoeing around the house because, again, they feel like they're invading what is somebody else's home, and they'll whiz around. What they tend to do is they will go directly to the windows rather than looking at the actual room, because, again, they feel a little bit awkward. If they can't fill that gap, they tend to just stare out at the view. However amazing it is, they actually need to be looking at the room and the view. And basically they'll just look around very quick and then leave. But what you want to do, and this is why as an agency we allow long periods for our viewings to take place, we want them to be able to be there as long as possible.
Yes.
So you want them to stay in the house, get a full vibe and feel for it, and you know, really get a feel for what it could be like them living there.
Definitely. And I've only had it a couple of times where the homeowner has actually been in the home whilst the viewings have been conducted, and where I've taken the viewers out to the garden and we've had a good walk around the garden and the grounds, I always like to then invite them back in for a second look at the home, take them back out to the best feature.
Nice.
But when the homeowner is in, they don't want to do that. You know, they say, "Oh no, it's okay, we've had a look. I think we'll remember everything.
We'll go and get in the car." And,
it's maybe just putting them off a little bit, whereas if they weren't there, you know, they may think, "Oh, yes, I'll have another look whilst I'm here." Or, you know.
I agree. And I think as well, I don't know what you're like. Obviously, Victoria's been with, it seems like forever now, but is a newer member of the team. And I don't know how you feel, but I know if I'm doing a viewing, I tend to have a flow to my viewing, and you know, you're in the zone, and you know what way round you want to go, and what rooms where, and you know, you're saving the best bit till last because that's the emotional thing they're going to remember, whether it's a view or a wow factor master bedroom or whatever. And sometimes, however lovely it is, and we love all our homeowners, they can throw you off your flow, so to speak, I find. So you can actually, you know, that could be detrimental to your agent and what they've got envisaged for the viewing and how it should take place and what to do and when to do it. So there's various reasons why it's important that your agent fully does your viewing and takes them round, and also while they're doing it, great opportunity to go get a coffee or lunch, etc., and then get that agent to then give you immediate feedback or give you a call once they're done. And if you've not gone far, you're just out with the dog and quickly pop back and have a chat with your agent. That's probably the best way to do it, isn't it? Yeah,
and following on from that for the feedback side of things as well, we've built a relationship with those people viewing the home then.
Great point.
So they can feel that they can give you their honest feedback. You know, perhaps there isn't something that quite worked for them with that home, but they can be really honest about why, which is much more useful for the homeowner in the long run, because they'll understand that reason why then, rather than, you know, it wasn't quite for us or something a bit fluffy.
You can get more detail.
You know, we've built that trust.
Yeah, it's a good point, definitely. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's always times when it is good for a homeowner to do a viewing, and don't get me wrong, you know, we do it. because at the end of the day you don't want to miss out on a potential viewing. So, you know, if your agent is busy or they can't get there to do the viewing, you know, rather than losing that viewing altogether, certainly wouldn't say no. You know, we would do the same. We would ask if our owners want to show them around. But if you ever want sort of advice or to know what to say, not to say, what order to do the house in, you know, that's what your agent's for, so they can give you advice on that. We certainly would give you help on, like I say, what to say, not to say, what order to do rooms in, that kind of thing. So Victoria's becoming a very quick expert at viewings, so you could always give her a call, and she can give you some top tips on doing viewings if you have to. But I think the underlying point is let Victoria do or your agent.
Yeah.
So that's it for today. So I hope that helps, and fingers crossed next Wednesday it will be brighter and sunnier and drier here in the Lake District. But all for now, and see you next week.
Bye.